morning. You're watching ABC in the morning live on ABC News GH. Today is the 12th day of December in the year of our Lord 2024. We immensely apologize for the late start of ABC in the morning today. However, we are going to bring you a very comprehensive show that you're going to love. The conversations will be very engaging, so you want to stick and stay with us as we bring you all of the conversations today. We're streaming live on our YouTube channel. The channel is ABC News GH. Our website is www.abcnewsgh.com. And to interact with us, you can get in touch with us via our socials at ABC News GH _. When we open the phone lines for you to call, the number to call is 053-916-1609. 053-916-1609. Let's take a quick breather. When we are back, Front Story begins. Welcome back to watching ABC in the morning. Straight into our front story. On Front Story today, we turn our attention to a health crisis unfolding in the Western region. A cholera outbreak that has already claimed lives and left many hospitalized. In an urgent response, the Western Regional Coordinating Council has issued a ban on the sale of vegetables by food vendors in the region, a measure aimed at containing the spread of the outbreak. According to the council, the decision to place a ban on vegetable sales has become necessary as daily recorded cases are on the rise. As of December 7, 2024, 789 suspected cases and 8 deaths have been recorded across various health facilities in the Western region, with the daily reported cases exceeding 60. The Sekondi Takoradi Metropolitan and the Efia-Kosi-Minti municipal areas account for 95% of infections recorded in the region so far. The council in a press release stated that environmental surveillance investigations revealed that 96% of infections are linked to food vendors, particularly through the sale of contaminated vegetables such as salads, leaves, and green peppers. Yesterday, we had an interaction with the regional environmental analyst. Today, too, we will have an interaction with him so that we can better peruse the conversation. This issue about public health emergency is a very crucial one. A few months ago, we raised this concern of cholera outbreak, which had been seen in and around the Adan areas. The numbers were not even as high as what we are seeing in the eastern region. We thought that this issue could have been curbed because it was listed as a public health emergency. Unfortunately, some months later, this is what has happened. So many cases recorded, and especially as we are not even in a rainy season, we are seeing all of these. That's quite stressful and disheartening that we will see. But beyond all of this public health emergency, this ban carries significant economic consequences for consumers. It means higher food prices and limited dietary options for vendors, many of whom depend on vegetable sales for their livelihoods. It's a devastating blow that threatens their businesses and families. Let's explore how affected residents in the Western region are adjusting to this new reality. Let's speak with Oliver Cromwell, the Regional Environmental Health Analyst there. Good morning, Oliver. Thank you for your time.
Good morning, madam.
Oliver, this issue about cholera and the ban the Western Regional Coordinating Council has placed on your people, has placed on the people of the Western region. So far, have more cases been recorded again?
Yeah. For now, we've not had the data from Ghana Health Service. We have data up to 9th of December 2024. I've not gotten that of the 10th and 11th, that is yesterday. So I cannot talk much for now.
Okay. But we understand that the ban on the sale of vegetables by the council is a measure to contain this spread. How extensive was this consultation? Did you consult with the stakeholders before banning the sale of vegetables? You know how much these sales mean to the sellers and vendors, the vendors, yes?
Yeah, we did a lot of consultation with the stakeholders, because we always have Zoom meetings and we discuss issues of that nature, issues of cholera and all those things. And it wasn't one person or two, but we all agreed that this is the way we should go, so that we could curb the cholera outbreak, because most of the cases were coming from food vendors through the vegetables. So it's from all the stakeholders, the Ghana Health Service, FDA, WRCC. We all came together and agreed that this is the way we should go.
Okay. This issue, 908 cases and 8 deaths recorded so far, and you are saying that you haven't even received any more data from Ghana Health Service with regards to 10th and 11th. How effective...
Can you be a bit louder, please?
Okay. With this issue of 908 cases with 8 deaths, how effective do you believe that this directive of banning the sale of vegetables will reduce the outbreak that you're currently experiencing in the Western region?
Yeah, thank you very much. The issue, the reason why this thing came is that we are having about 95% of the cases coming from food and vegetables. So once we've analyzed and identified that 95% is coming from food vendors. It's food vendors, not food in the domestic houses and all this, from food vendors. So we realized that if we do that, maybe we'll reduce the incidence of cholera, but we need to monitor it for the next 5 days and see that to see that whatever we put in place is in the right direction. But I believe that when we adhere to all these things, it will definitely come down. It will definitely come down.
All right. But come on, how effective is this going to be, banning the sale? Because this is how they make their livelihood. And if for the next few days they can't sell their food, some of them may be agitated and may be selling at the blind side of the council. How effectively are you going to manage the situation so that you make sure that the vendors are adhering to the directive?
I think we've not done anything in terms of their livelihood. They are still to sell. And water and all those things are being sold at the market. It's only the vegetables that they shouldn't add. And before we did that, we met them. We had a discussion with the food vendors, some of them, not all of them, some of them, to see how best if we stop, is going to affect them. But I believe, and during our discussion, they agree that although it's not going to affect them, but it was a dicey issue. But we need to do that and then go forward, because without that, we cannot see the way we'll go. And this is the way we should go for us to stop the cholera. Today, we are going to meet the food vendors again, discuss this issue of the ban on vegetables. We are doing that in Takoradi. Tomorrow, we'll go to Kwesimintin and then further discuss this issue. And I believe they all agree. We went round yesterday, and they are selling. They were all happy that sales are still going on, and nothing has stopped them from getting their profit and all those things.
Okay. So they are not going to suffer any losses at this point because of the ban?
Exactly, they are not.
Okay. Well, beyond what you have implemented, tomorrow you will be meeting, today and tomorrow you meet them in Takoradi and Kwesimintin. What other interventions are the Western Regional Coordinating Council putting in place to make sure that this issue, this public health emergency, is curbed and curbed faster?
Apart from the food, we are also looking at sanitation. And if you look at the metropolis, we have a lot of refuse all scattered in the metropolis. We are in tune with the Zoom Lion to evacuate the refuse around. We are also appealing to corporate bodies to support the WRCC to enable us clean the environment. And then we are also in tune with STME and ECMA to also sit up and also do the NIFO. At the same time, we are educating the communities on the need to clean their environment and then improve their personal hygiene. And then the food vendors, we are also telling them to use hand washing facility, and this is now compulsory in the Western region. That without hand washing facility, you cannot sell. And this thing will take place from Friday. From Friday, if you don't have hand washing facility beside you cannot sell your food and what have you. So these are the measures that we are doing. And then we are also trying to talk to the assembly members and the opinion leaders to organize communal labor in their communities, in all the various communities, to see whether we can stop this cholera disease.
All right. We're grateful for your time this morning, Oliver.
Thank you, madam.
Oliver Cromwell is the Regional Environmental Health Analyst in the Western Region. Let's speak with my colleague, Jacob Eduba, who is our regional correspondent. Hello, Jacob. Good morning. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, madam.
Hello, Jacob. Good morning.
Good morning, madam. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, Jacob. How are you also doing?
Good morning.
Jacob, following...
I'm also good.
Great. Following the ban of food, of the sale of food items or food in the Western region, how are residents in the affected communities responding to this directive?
All right. So if you come to the Western region, I'm currently at the Jubilee Grounds Market. This market came about when the COVID outbreak came, and that they had to, practice the COVID protocols. But since then, it has been a market center at the Jubilee Park here in the Takoradi constituency or the metropolis. Currently, I've interacted with some of the market women, and they are not happy with the instructions or the directives from the Western Regional Coordinating Council, citing that already market has been slow for them. They've not been able to get their monthly or weekly sales for other customers or for their vendors. But since the directive came, they have not been able to meet up their sales the market for vegetables or vegetable produce has gone down, and they are not happy since they know they've been doing their best to keep all the vegetables clean, but the directives coming from the regional coordinating council is not in supportive of whatever they are doing, and they want the Ministry of Health to give them directives to tell them what they should do, how they should do it, so that they can be able to, help in solving the cholera outbreak in the country. They believe that every year, this has been an annual thing. Every year, they believe that there has been cholera outbreaks, and it's not about their produce, but rather how we maintain or protect our hygiene in the constituency or in our vicinities. So they believe the directives from the Regional Coordinating Council is not something that they can talk about, and they are not happy with whatever directives that they are getting from the Regional Coordinating Council in the Western region.
All right, but the Regional Coordinating Council has also warned that offenders who fail to comply with the directive will face prosecution. In all that is happening, do you see anybody trying to flout the directive?
Well, they are vendors. They are working for their daily life. They are catering for their family. You directing them to, stop all these things, meaning that you are trying to take their daily bread from them. So they are still doing their job. They are still working as vegetable sellers or vendors, and there has not been any prosecution since the directives came. So they are just doing their daily work or doing their daily things to get their money or their daily bread to cater for their family. So if you come to the Western region, this is what is going on in the Western region. But so far, so good. There has not been any prosecution from the Regional Coordinating Council that they are prosecuting someone for selling a vegetable produce or even buying vegetable produce in the region.
If you are in the market, Jacob, can you please speak with some of them? Let's hear from them directly.
All right. So we have one madam here.
All right. Yes. Jacob.
Hello, madam.
All right. Okay, let her go on, please.
Hello, madam.
Yes, Jacob, let her go on.
All right.
Since you go, man, one touch me. Many what's there? One house moment to see many yes, someone. Yan men or the Yalabanaba. All in a few years boy and film I did. I was the bed young Yafa. No, Madame Yalaban, now say to into one bra out. No one can sound a wash and I saw the party Yamana. One can't now one hour the bano. Yes, is 1 moment February, but yes, and so on. You also one run on Macania shot there to another to say Yamano. One to Ama Yamana, about 3 days to 4 days, Yama, why and co. See upon Chawala, one can be found near CNC and Wasso.
All right, madam. So this my mom here sells vegetable produce, as you can see. This is her foodstuffs or her shop that she sells cabbage, carrots, cucumbers, and others. So yes, this is one of the vegetable sellers in the Western region.
Okay.
Let me see if I can get another person to talk about the directives from the Regional Coordinating Council.
Also, that Jacob is in the market there at the Western region, and he's speaking with some of the market women. Obviously, from the one he spoke with, she is unhappy about the directive because this is where they find their daily living. This is the money they make to be able to take care of themselves. And I believe that there should be more public education, because from what the vendor said, she says that cholera is a disease which is airborne, and I'm being very literal here. She says it's airborne. So this shows that there needs to be more public health education in the region so that they can understand. And she said that it happens every year. So it also means that now they feel it's very normal. So public health education must be increased on the issue of cholera. Hello, Jacob.
Yes, I've gotten one vendor here too, that she wants to speak on the directive. So, yes, madam, directives are what the hours from the econ, what will cabbage and a window may find then.
And so, you don't see house flies or the cholera never. So, because of that, I want to what say there. Cabbage, I don't know, man. Cholera, 1/3 into a man. No money in I is slow. I show you the new mobile 1/3 into 1 shaman just near now. Young to me, and toy and I the man. A Koania bobo. It's 1 share. One share.
Right, Jacob,
right, so
we're grateful that you spoke to them, but we'll be coming back to you for more as the situation unfolds.
Yes, I have one person. Person here that she also wants to speak.
Right.
And so I wanted to speak. We go on.
Okay. And I pay Obisu by Kede. What is from Wache and the moths that she took, and she had that cholera because when she went to the hospital, they tested and they said it was from that Wache that the person ate. So now we don't even know whether it's from vegetable or it's from that Wache or it's from that moths. Okay. So they should please come out and then take a first measure about what is happening because our things are getting spoiled because people are not coming to buy and it's money that we also use to budget. So they should please come out and say something about it for us. We are begging.
All right, madam. So these are some of the vegetable vendors in the Secondary or the Jubilee Park in Secondary Takoradi, Jubilee Park Market in Secondary Takoradi. Okay. So yes, this is what they have to say.
Right. Jacob, thank you for your time this morning. We'll do well to come back for more conversations looking at whatever transpires after today. So that's Jacob Eduba, correspondent in the Western region, and these are all the thank you. These are all the issues surrounding the ban on the sale of food, vegetables because of cholera in the Western region. We'll bring you more as it unfolds. That's all for Front Story. Let's take a break. When we are back, there is sports, the latest in sports and health tips. Stay with us.
This is where the headlines are probed. Policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it's a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue?
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And Every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now.
Go on.
Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to resolve? Have you thought about managing that head-on?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the fray to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television. This is where the headlines are probed, policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it's a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue?
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now.
Go on.
Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to resolve? Have you thought about managing that head-on?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the fray to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television.
Hello there, good morning. You are welcome to the sports segment with me, Samuel Nyimabo, in sports. Now we got you all the latest from the world of sports, so let's get straight into it. Today, the Black Galaxies of Ghana recorded a 2-0 win over Togo in an international friendly on Tuesday, December 11, 2024, as part of preparations for the 2024 CHAN qualifiers against Nigeria. Asante Kotoko forward Albert Amwa opened the scoring as early as the 3rd minute before Yakubu Issa added the second in the 27th minute as the start the cow in Lome, Togo. Now coach Masoud Didi Dramani has been trimming the rough edges of his team ahead of the crucial qualifier against Nigeria this month. The match forms part of the latest preparation for the test against the West African rivals in a 2-legged tie. The first leg of the tie takes place on Sunday, December 22 in Ghana, before the return leg comes off on Saturday, December 28, 2024 in Nigeria. Ghana eliminated Nigeria to secure qualifications to the latest edition of CHAN tournament in Algeria after a post-match penalty shootout following a 2-2 aggregate scoreline. Now let's get into the world of the UEFA Champions League football. Yesterday, there were some matches in the UEFA Champions League. We saw Barcelona make a comeback win to beat Dortmund 3-2 away from home. We saw Arsenal also defeated Monaco 3-0 at home. where Manchester City continue their poor form, losing 2-0 to Juventus. And the table, as you see there, is the table in terms of qualification, and Liverpool still remains on top with already qualifying to the next round of the Champions League. They've qualified to the round of 16 of the UEFA Champions League already. They are top of the table after 6 games. They have won all 6 matches. Second on the table is Barcelona, the Catalan Giants, coming in second there with 15 points after 6 games, losing 1 game. In that game they lost, in their first match they lost to Monaco. You have Arsenal also coming in there with 13 points, losing 1, drawing 1, and placing third. The Bayer Leverkusen, the German Giants, winning the German, coming from that triumphant season last season when they won the Bundesliga. They are 4th on the table, and we have Aston Villa also 5th on the table. We have Inter Milan and Stade Brestois, that's Brest also coming in there, still within the first 8 teams who will automatically qualify for the round of 16. If the table remains like this, it means that Brest will be part of the first 8 teams to automatically qualify for the round of 16. You have Lille in from the French League A also coming in on the 8th position. Now you have Dortmund within the knockout playouts. Within the knockout playout things, you have Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Atletico Madrid, AC Milan, Atalanta, Juventus, Benfica, Monaco, Sporting CP, and final you have Club Brugge and the Champions Leagues themselves, the champions of the Champions League, Real Madrid in that 20th spot. You have Celtic, Manchester City, PSV, and Dynamo Zagreb within the knockout phase. Those who qualify for the knockout phase, or those who play the qualification for the knockout phase in the UEFA Champions League. And those, if the things or if the matches ends in this manner, those who fail to qualify is PSG. You have Stuttgart, you have Shakhtar Donetsk, you have Sparta Praha, Sturm Graz, Girona, and all the other teams that would fail to qualify if this continues. So this is how the table looks like for the UEFA Champions League. Your team, you should be watching out for your team too. You should be watching out for your team there to see if they can secure qualification. You have 2 matches more to go in the qualifying stage of the UEFA Champions League. Now, let's look at some Ghanaian players abroad. English-born Ghanaian winger Kojo Bam made a vital impact off the bench as Watford battled to a 1-1 draw against Hull City at the MKM Stadium in the Championship Round 20 clash. Hull City, boasting a superior head-to-head record, looked poised to secure their 6th victory over Watford after Chris Bedia opened the scoring in the 82nd minute. Assisted by Marvin Melham, Bedia's clinical finish from the center of the box capped off a strong period of Hull City's dominance. However, Watford's resilience shown through late in the game, Bar introduced in the 61st minute for Jeremy Ngakia injected energy into the Hammers attack. His persistence paid off in the 88th minute when he delivered a pinpoint pass to Rocco Vata, who rifled home from close range to equalize. The draw kept Watford within touching distance of mid-table, while Hull City viewed missed opportunities, managing to no big chance despite their superior XG of 1.47. Watford next face West Brom on December 15, hoping Barnes' creativity can spark another positive result. Some more news on Ghanaian players abroad. We have Crystal Palace have joined the hunt for Olympic Lyonnais forward Ernest Nuama alongside Premier League's rival Everton and Fulham as Lyon brace for a crucial January transfer window. With financial struggles threatening their League One survival, Lyon are prepared to offload their Ghanaian star to raise funds. Nyama 21 became Leon's new signing when he joined permanently from RW Molenbeek on July 7, 2024 for a reported 28.5 million euros. Despite his promising arrival, the young talent has struggled to maintain consistency at Lyon. And this is how we end the sports segment here on ABC in the morning. We'll be looking out to see if Ernest Nyama gets to get some Premier League football next season. Maybe from January he'll get to see some Premier League football, joining the likes of Kudus and Jordan Ayew in the English Premier League. I am Samuel Nimabo. ABC News, ABC in the morning continues.
Welcome to Health Tips here on ABC in the morning. It's another day to share some valuable health updates with you, and I hope that at the end of this segment you will learn something beneficial. I am Eric Chinebwamelo, and let's get straight into it. So today we will be taking a look at how to eat healthy and also make sure that your health is very balanced. So to achieve this, you need to eat the right amount of calories based on your activity level, and then we also would have to consume more calories than your body needs. So the stress and energy get stored as fat, leading to weight gain. So conservatively, it's also best to eat and drink not so much or little. That can also help you. So let's really get straight into it. A lot of people do say that it is not really advisable to eat a lot, but it is also vital to eat a variety of food to ensure that your body receives all the necessary nutrients for a balanced diet. Now, for adults, it is generally recommended that men consume around 2,500 calories a day, which is about 10 to 500 kilojoules, and women about 2,000 calories a day, which is also about 8,400 kilojoules. Now, unfortunately, many adults consume more calories than they need. So here are some guidelines for you. The first thing you have to take into consideration is that you have to base your meals on higher fiber, starchy carbohydrates. Now, choose higher fiber or whole grain vegetables or varieties such as a whole wheat pasta, brown rice, or potatoes with some skin on it. Now, these options contain more fiber than white and fried refined starchy carbohydrates. It will really help you so much. Also, you have to eat lots of fruit and vegetables. Now, it is very recommendable to eat at least 5 portions of a variety of fruit and vegetable every single day. Now, it means that you can also freshen a frozen, canned, dried, or juiced, and you can easily meet with goal, considering that you add some sliced bananas into it and inside your breakfast, into your cereals, and also swap in your usual mid-morning snack for a piece of fresh fruit. Very refreshing. Those of you who just don't like eating fruit, please take advantage and eat fruit. It is very necessary. A portion of it also defined about 80 grams of fresh, canned, or frozen fruit and vegetable, while dried fruit should also be limited to 30 grams during meal time. It's very much necessary, again, to make sure that you're eating so well and your health is very much in shape. You have to eat more fish, including a bit of oily fish. Now, it's not so much of a good thing if you buy food without meat, because meat contains a lot of protein, especially with fish. It's one excellent source of protein and contains many vitamins and minerals. So you also have to aim to eat at least 2 portions of fish per week. Most of you even go to the food joint, you don't buy meat, you don't buy fish, you eat your thing raw like that. Well, maybe it's because you don't have enough on you, but sometimes you also have to incorporate eating of fish or protein foods such as fish. It really helps. Again, you have to cut down on saturated fat, sugar. Now, while some fats are necessary in your diet, it's also very important to pay attention to the amount of types of fat consumed. So saturated fats can also rise cholesterol level in the blood, increasing the risk of heart disease. Now, on average, men should also limit their intake to no more than 30 grams per day, while women should also concede about 20 grams, and it really would help them in their fats, including the fatty cuts of meat and sausages, butter, hard cheese, cream, cakes and biscuits, large and other pies. Cut down on all of these. It's not so much advisable, especially if you really want to manage your health. It's not every single drink you see that you have to buy. It contains a lot of sugar. Well, let me just quickly wrap up with some more. You also have to eat less salt. A lot of you would like to put in so much salt in your food. Someone cooks and it's like, I can't feel the salt taste in it, so he or she adds more salt to it. Meanwhile, it is not so advisable. So adults should consume not more than 6 grams of salt. Now, that's about a teaspoon of it per day. Now, excess salt can also raise your blood pressure and increase the risk of your heart disease, and it can even trigger you to getting a stroke. So most salt in our diet comes from processed food, so it's very much important to check food labels, and food with more than 1.5 grams of salt per 100 grams are also considered high in salt. Now, children aged 11 and under should have even less salt in their diet, okay? It's very much advisable. When you pay attention to your health, you see that every single day you're living well actively. Then again, 6, we have to get active and maintain a healthy weight. Don't sleep often, okay? Regular exercise is crucial for your overall health and can also reduce the risk of severe health conditions. Now, being overweight or obese can lead to issues such as type 2 diabetes and certain cancers, which also is in relation with your heart and other stroke disease. Now, while being underweight can also affect your health, most adults also need to eat fewer calories to lose the weight over there. It means that a healthy, balanced diet can also help you maintain a healthy weight over them. Finally, let me just wrap up with something. It says that you also have to stay hydrated. Now, it's very essential to drink water. Water, we say, it's life, and water is very essential. Now, also the government recommends that drinking 6 to 8 glasses of water each day is very advisable. In addition to the fluids, you can also get some food, and all non-alcoholic beverages also count. So these are some of the tips I would want to share with you, just to incorporate them in your day-to-day activity. Now, by following these steps, you can also make better choices of a healthier lifestyle. The food you see displayed on the screens are preferred food that you can also consider to eat, which is very much advisable for your health. Fish, taking less calories and all of that, it's very advisable. Well, that's all for health tips today here with me, Eric Chinibwa Madam. ABC in the Morning continues shortly after this break.
This is where the headlines are probed. Policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it's a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue?
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now.
Good.
Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to resolve? Have you thought about managing that header?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the fray to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television.
That's something.
still watching ABC in the morning. Up next is Business Fix. Today on Business Fix, we are engaging business people to find out how the change in government will affect businesses or not. So we will be speaking with Kwadwo Amoateng, the president of Traders Advocacy Group Ghana. With John Dramani Maham's election as president, we examine the potential impact of the upcoming government transition on businesses over the next 4 years. During his campaign, John Dramani Mahama emphasized his commitment to revitalizing trade and business activities in Ghana. His administration promised targeted interventions to benefit local traders and entrepreneurs, including the introduction of a fixed exchange rate scheme to stabilize the cedi against the dollar and create a more predictable business environment. He also has an economic vision that includes the creation of 5 specialized banks focused on sectors such as small and medium scale or medium-sized enterprises. Those are SMEs. All of these banks will provide tailored capital, promote a more inclusive banking sector, and assist importers with port clearance by offering funding, container holding, and manageable payment plans. In this 5 specialized banks, you will find the National Women's Bank, which will support female entrepreneurs with targeted financial assistance, fostering innovation and business growth among women. Among all of the things the John Mahama administration will do, they're also looking at scrapping some levies such as the e-levy and COVID-19 levies. For all of these, we want to speak with a traders group. These are stakeholders that are directly impacted by all of these things. Good morning, Kwadwo. Thank you for your time.
Hi. Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Kwadwo, the last time we spoke with you on Business Fix, you said that traders are looking forward for this elections to be won in one round so that all eyes will be back to the markets. Indeed, the election has been won in one round. It has also been declared John Mahama as president. Have businesses returned to the market?
Abraham, let me say a very good morning to you and your television viewers and listeners as well. Let me say a huge congratulations to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama for winning this year's election. And let's also thank His Excellency Mahmoud Bawumia for also coming out timely to accept the suit and congratulating the winner. Well, what I said in our previous interviews has come to pass for us to get a one round off. We didn't want a situation whereby we go for a round of again. So it into the Christmas and it even scared people from coming to do shopping. By God's grace, we've gotten one time election and a winner has been pronounced. But going forward, there are a lot of things that are happening. And now, since about 3 days ago, people have started coming to town. People are asking, doing window shopping. And that has been the order of the day. First week, second week in Christmas and in December, a lot of people will come to the shop, come to town, marketplaces, and start doing their window shopping. Then the third would be start doing serious shopping. So this is what we are envisaging and waiting for, that from the third week, business will be booming as we've been praying to our Maker so that we can break even. And I can also sort my abna out.
Kwadwo, as part of John Mahama, His Excellency John Mahama's policies is the 24-hour economy. Traders and businesses alike, how have you positioned yourself to be a part of this policy?
Well, if you listen to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama's interview towards the latter part of the campaign, he himself admitted that the 24-hour economy will be optional. And we know businesses that definitely they will benefit from 24-hour economy policy. And we have some businesses that no matter what, they cannot do 24 hours. So we are just waiting to find out how it sounds out, because coming to my sector, I don't think I can do 24 hours. There are some sectors, we speak now, they are doing 24 hours. And there are some sectors, maybe because of the ingredients that will go into the 24-hour policy. Why not? Businessmen will always take advantage. If it is juicy and it's viable and it will bring profit, why not? People will veer into that. So, you see, from tax perspective, we are giving him some time for him to roll up certain policies. Because, yes, it's a campaign for me, but it's like pregnancy. If you go to church and maybe a prophecy is given, that maybe a week by now, what you are expecting, God will do it for you. If you are expecting a baby, if you can't get it within a week, definitely yours will be in months. So there are some policies that we can even give him up to a year for him to roll them up. And I think we will come to that because from your, when you started talking, I heard one or two things that you said. Okay, when it comes to the setting up of a women's bank, you can't do this within 1 month. Okay, when you talk about pegging the dollar rate at the port, that one we can do it within a month. So there are certain policies that we believe that within a month or two, you should roll them up. Okay. And there are some policies that we believe that within a year, it should come on board.
Okay. Kojo, within the first 20 days, John Mahama, in his social contract to the Ghanaian people, says that his government will scrap some taxes and levies, like the e-levy and other taxes. How does TAG see this particular scrapping of these taxes? Does it find any expression with you?
When you go back to 2022, November, no, it's 2023 November, TAG issued a statement telling Honorable Kenneth Uriata that we should tread cautiously when it comes to e-levy. So me, I wasn't surprised when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama promised that when it comes, he will scrap it. And this levy, it doesn't need much time. The first budget, they can use that first budget to scrap it. The second one is the betting tax. That one too, they can use the first budget to scrap it. As I said, there are certain policies you don't need time. Your first budget can deal with it. And by some policies, you need time. So we will relax and give him some time for him to roll out certain policies. But with the e-levy, COVID levy, because COVID levy, we were even telling the previous administration that you can even change the name because you see, it is not the money that people are paying that were leading them to talk that much, but the name. Even the WHO that brought this COVID, they have told everybody that now there is no COVID anywhere. So we even suggested that we can even call that levy a dialysis levy, an NHIS, other one. If you won't scrap it, change the name. We said this time and again, but people did not listen. So COVID levy can go, and me, if you ask my candid opinion, I don't want us to scrap the COVID levy. I want us to change the name because, my sister, if you go to Kolubu and see people on dialysis, people who cannot pay, we can even add that one to the NHIS levy. That's when you are clearing your stuff or maybe buying things abroad. Maybe they will be charging anything that you buy that will come out with COVID levy. We can change the name so that we get money. And mind you, we are a developing country. When it comes to money, we don't have luxury when it comes to money. So if we can use that COVID levy to also augment the health sector, why not? We can do that. Okay. So we COVID, scrap or no scrap, I'm okay with that. All right. But the e-levy should go, and all these things can be taken care of by through the first budget.
Right. Kojo, how does TAG have a particular policy that is looking forward that this new government will implement to help businesses?
Yes.
Thank you for this question. We met both parties. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, we met him, one in, I think twice in Accra and one in Kwewu during the Easter holidays. We met. We presented, when we met the manifesto team, we presented a blueprint to them. And during their manifesto, some find its way in the manifesto, of which are waiting to see the implementation of those things coming to life. When we met him personally, we reiterated 1 or 2 points that he also admitted that should God grant him the grace, he will implement them. So, as I said, we've been working with his office and he himself, and we are believing and trusting that those things that we dealt with while during or preparing the manifesto and the campaign, while God has given him the grace to lead once again, he will implement those things.
What are those things, Pedro?
Okay, one, let me give you 3. About the port charges, we told him he can do it by pegging the dollar rate. That one came from us. So he can peg the dollar at the port. 2, he can also reduce 1 or 2 things at the port. Because like the e-levy, those things, we also suggested to him, and he took it. And when it comes to finances, because I think I remember me telling him, if we have Africa Continental Free Trade Area in Ghana, and I'm doing business with somebody from South Africa, I am borrowing with the interest rate of 80-something%. South Africa is doing 8%. And we are all going to sell in the same market. Right from the word go, I am at disadvantage. You get it? So we also suggested to him that he should make sure when he comes borrowing to businesses, the rate will come down. And it also found its way in his manifesto. And one thing that we said that he even said that, Mr. President, why haven't I even thought of this? And we all laugh about it. We said he should do something we call coupon for artisans. In as much as that one did not find its way in the manifesto, he said when he can, he will do it. Because how can? And he himself grew some analysis. Even last week, some people came to my home, service my air conditioning. They took 20,000. And they did not pay any tax. But when my salary hits my account, before I'll take it, the government has taken tax. So why haven't I thought of this? And we laughed over it, and he said it's something that when he can, he would do. And we pray that he do it. Because, see, how can you, Abner, before you go to bank for your salary, be taking their taxes? I am supervising a fence building at Tuija. The carpenter that did the roofing, his charges alone was 7,000.
Okay.
And they did this roofing within 3 days. 3 days.
So, with this issue,
if somebody takes 70,000 without tax, and somebody pays 1,005, and they are taking tax from, where is the parity? It's not fair.
Okay.
There's no fairness in that.
Then, Kojo, we'll come back and then better understand your issue about coupons for artisans. This is something that looks interesting, and it will be great to look into it the more.
Yes, yes.
You're grateful for your time?
Always.
Kojo Amoateng is the president for the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, and he says that these are some of the things they are looking forward to in the new government, which will be formed by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That's all for Business Fix. We'll take a break. When we are back, it is the main discussion. You're welcome back and still watching ABC in the morning. Let's head straight into our main discussion for today. We're still looking at the elections that just happened over the weekend. The Joint Transition Team has been inaugurated, and the Jubilee House has directed the return of all state vehicles. Constitutionally, there are things that happen after elections, and one of them is the transition, which we saw happen yesterday. The President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, invited the President-elect John Dramani Mahama to the Jubilee House for the transition to commence, for all of this to commence. And in all of the elections too, we also saw that some candidates that did not think would lose their seats have lost their seats. The Ghanaian people went to the polls and determined who will be their representatives in Parliament. In all of these, there have been some heightening tensions here and there because of the actions of some unscrupulous persons in their country, and we've had some conversations about how all of these can be looked at, because the standoffs when it comes to the parliamentary elections is becoming too much, and the actions by some unscrupulous persons on our streets also too much. You remember that the NPP General Secretary called on the Peace Council to tell John Dramani Mahama, the President-elect, to call the NDC supporters to desist from what they were doing. Additionally, President-elect also called on the President to also maintain some calm in the country. So we see that from both sides, they realize that those who are looting, those who are bothering the peace of our country are not helping us at all. All of these little things that we are seeing, do we even say they are little? No. Looting is a big deal. Burning buildings is a big deal, and it doesn't help us as a nation that touts itself as a very peaceful nation. In West Africa, we more or less are the beacon for peace in the sub-region. And so if all of these are happening, the other countries will not look on us favorably, because why is it that after an election all of these should happen? Why should all of these happen after an election? And these are some of the things that have arisen. These pockets of unrest from some unscrupulous individuals, and these are the conversations that have come up in all of these. So today we'll have some conversations. We'll look at we'll have conversations and look at everything that has happened following the elections and how we can have some finality to all of that. So following Ghana's December 7, 2024 elections, parliamentary elections to say, a wave of controversy has emerged as several losing candidates have also contested the results. In addition to growing tensions, there have been disturbing reports of violence in some constituencies, raising critical questions about the integrity of the electoral process. This raises urgent concerns for the Electoral Commission, political parties and the government, as Ghana's reputation as a pillar of democracy in West Africa is at stake. So we'll be focusing on key parliamentary candidates who rejected the election results in their constituencies. The situation has escalated in some areas to the point where violent confrontations have taken place as these candidates struggle to accept their outcomes. So some of these candidates, or the constituencies where candidates have struggled to take their outcomes, like Tema West, where John Nunu announced that Ebi Bright of the NDC had won the elections from Charles Forson. These are some of the places where they have been contesting. In Dom Kwabenya, Michael Kwe Jr. says that he's contesting the results. He's contesting the results that declared Eli Klim Akrugu as the MP-elect. So these are some that have happened. But let's talk to lawyer Yao Dankwa about elections and all. Good morning, lawyer.
Good morning.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
After the elections, conversations have come up. People have been contesting the results. One that has stood out is that one of the outgoing MPs that is contesting the results is saying that transition process should halt till some of their issues have been looked at. Let's ask, constitutionally, how long should the transition process take?
This is one of the things that the Constitution did not, the framework of the Constitution did not factor in. That there will be this sort of but I think that if it is... Hello, can you hear me? Sorry.
I can hear you, sir. Can you hear us too?
Yes, I can hear you. Now, I think it should be treated as if the seat has become vacant and the time period for which it's allowed to have elections, that is what will apply. So I don't think there's any serious issues there. Now, that's one option. The other option would be that when one is contesting the results, then there must be a recount, and if all the recount takes place, and the winner of the recount becomes the MP-elect. And if the person is not happy, then the only option or the recourse is to go to court. And this is what's available to us.
Okay. So has there ever been a case where an MP has been elected, has been sworn in Parliament, and then someone, after taking it to court, the court ruled in their favor, and then it has come up that there has to be a swap now? Have you ever seen that in our country?
Oh, well, yes, we did have that. We did have it in Ghana here, but incidentally, by the time the entire process played out in court, the term has already expired. You know, where the Parliament declared a candidate as the legitimate MP-elect, but by which time it has long gone by.
So then the MPs who are contesting these results, it means they are well within their rights to ask. Are they well within their rights to ask that the transition process be halted so that their issue can be looked at?
I don't think the transition period is constitutional. It is not. The transitional period will go ahead, and the president-elect will form his cabinet, will appoint his ministers, and he will start his business. What will happen then is, if the matter goes to court and the court determines who is the winner of that constituency, that winner will be sworn in as the member of Parliament for that constituency. But to halt the entire transitional process is not constitutional and it's not lawful.
Okay. It is not constitutional and not lawful in that regard. In all of these transitioning happening between the NPP and the NDC, the outgoing and the incoming, so far it has looked like a very peaceful one, a very cordial one, we must say. How does this translate also into how the nation will move on as a country?
In fact, as a constitutional practitioner and as a citizen of this country, I think the 2024 election is the most peaceful one on a ground scale. It's a very peaceful one. I know there are pockets of disturbance here and there, but it wasn't like the previous election. And Ghanaians have made it. Ghanaians have spoken, and we are getting on. I mean, for the first time in the history of this country, where there was an election on a Saturday, and the very next day, a candidate concedes and congratulates the president-elect and calls his people to, to order. It's never happened in our history before. So yes, we are looking forward to a very smooth transition, and we are looking forward to a very vibrant economy. The dollar is dropping now, and I don't know whether it's a feel-good factor or things that raise, the consumer confidence is actually coming back, and people are really going to have to spend their money to boost, the economy. Let's hope that this trend continues, and we'll have a fruitful economy, and our nation will grow. Having said that, of course, the new government coming in has a challenge to ensure that either they will supersede what the previous government did, because the previous government has set a benchmark, and this new government will have to supersede that. And it's a demand that Ghanaians are expecting from the new government, and we hope that God will help them to be able to deliver.
And the issues that those who have lost in the elections are contesting, can they place an injunction on the swearing in of some candidates? If I am agreed, I believe that the votes or the results should have gone in my favor. However, my opponent is the one who was declared winner. Can I put an injunction on their swearing in?
I think injunction has become a very fashionable thing for Ghanaian politics, and with both the legislature and the executive are all filing injunctions left, right, and center. I don't think they can, and I don't think even if they, of course, it is within their right to file, but I don't think any court will grant that injunction, because you cannot maintain the status quo when on the balance of the convenience, one party or one person is going to suffer a hardship. That is what the court will have to balance. And I don't think they have the grounds to be granted an injunction when the effect and the impact, the detrimental impact on the nation will be greater than what they are seeking to do. So yes, it is within their right to apply. I cannot see any court in this land that will grant that injunction.
Ladankwa, the last time we had some conversation, it was about the standoff in Parliament, the declaration of some 4 seats by the Speaker. Now the NDC seems to have an overwhelming majority in Parliament. As a constitutional lawyer, from where you stand, how do you see this playing out in the next 4 years of this government?
Right. Okay. There are 2 things I want your listeners to know and to understand. And that is, even though the NDC have an overwhelming majority, with more than 2/3 majority needed to effect any change within the Constitution and other things, I don't think it would be a wise decision for them to do that. And I don't think that will happen. Because if peradventure they decided that they want to change the Constitution to make it a 3-term, they want to change the Constitution to make it a one-party state, now that will have to put up a referendum. And if it is out on a referendum, I don't think they will get a vote. Because if you look at the elections, really, now the NDC maintained their base, right? And their base came out to vote. The NPP were disgruntled, and their supporters did not come out to vote. That is the elections that we saw, and that is the message you sent to the party. But when it comes to a referendum, and you are saying that you want to change a 2-term to a 3-term, I don't think they'll have the votes to be able to make that happen. Because it's not the MPs who are going to change it. It should be the people that will change it. And I don't think they will have that support. And even if they want to change the Constitution to make it one-party state, I don't think they'll ever get that support. So even though they have 2/3 majority, and there's a lot they can do during this parliament, and to make the life of John Mahama very easy in terms of his policies, I don't think anything that they will do to affect the Constitution that will affect the general public will attract any support at all.
All right. You mentioned that there were 2 things you wanted us to look at in this question.
Sorry? Yeah.
Yes.
I think in my explanation, I put them all together.
All right. Okay. So it will not be. It will be unwise for them to seek to change the Constitution, and then the Ghanaian people may not also give them the mandate to do that.
That's correct. The people are given the mandate to govern and to improve the economy and to let our living standards be a bit better, to create jobs, and to bring improvement into our lives. I don't think the people have given us a mandate to go and change the constitution and to become a one-party state to lead to dictatorship. That will not happen. They are coming in to fight corruption, they said, and turning the nation to a one-party state. You cannot fight corruption. And turning a 2-term to a 3-term will not be a wise thing for them to do. And I don't think they will do that. But I think they have a mandate to be able to effect the policies that they believe will help, boost our economy and to grow our nation. And we're all looking forward to see what it will do. Yeah.
Some have said that the NPP in Parliament is basically going to be a toothless dog, where they won't be able to advocate for anything from their side because the NDC in Parliament will not need them. Is there any provision that gives them some more powers or some more that backs them to be able to do more than people are thinking they won't be able to do?
Now, what I want your listeners to understand is that the politicians are there to do politics, right? And trust me, they will still have to work with the NPP. They cannot say that because they have the overwhelming majority in Parliament, so they cannot work with the NPP parliamentarians. There might be issues and policies that even their own MPs may not be happy with, and for that reason, they may have to reach out to the NPP to try and get their support to push those policies through. So even though the NPP might be the minority in Parliament, they will still have to work with them. And all the things you hear are just a gimmick and they're all politics. But when they get into the chamber, they are all friends because they all love Ghana and they all want the best for Ghana. And so let us not be fooled by the antics that they come out to tell us. But they all work together.
Let me come back to the issue of going to court because of election results that didn't favor. Per what you said earlier, we have seen that in our body politics in the country before, but by the time the issue was solved, the term was already over. Can there be an avenue where cases like these would be looked at in the shortest possible time so that there can also be some closure for those who send the matter to court?
I think, yes, I think it can be. That will be down to the Chief Justice. I mean, if a matter like this is actually brought to court and the Chief Justice wanted the matter to be dealt with expeditiously, I mean, the Chief Justice can order that to be done. In fact, the court where the matter goes to can be mandated to spend more time on the case to deal with it. And lawyers can be compelled to start their processes to have the matter be heard as soon as possible. And I think that is what the Chief Justice has started to do generally with the cases that are there are so many backlog of cases that the Chief Justice have turned in court into a morning and afternoon shift. There are 2 lawyers, 2 judges sitting, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. All these is an attempt to try and get rid of the backlog. I don't think what we experienced some time ago, where the matter goes to court and it takes about 4 years for the matter to be deliberated on, will be something that will happen today. I'm sure when there's an end challenge, it will be disposed of within a short possible time.
Any MP who has any grievances to seek the redress in court?
Yes, I mean, our grievances have to be heard out. So that is the branch of the judiciary. All the judicial powers is vested in the Chief Justice, and when it comes to the administration of justice, that's their job to make sure that there's justice. So anyone who is aggrieved by any outcome of elections and whatnot has the opportunity and the right to go to court to have the grievance be heard. But there's always a 2 sides to a story. So it's not a matter of you rushing to court means that you are going to win. But of course, we have to look at the details of what you have and the evidence and to make a determination. And I'm pretty sure that we are well positioned to deal with all the matters in this country. I'm very proud, as a Ghanaian, I think our judicial system is effective.
Okay. How does this new government or the new constitution of this parliament, the 9th parliament and the new government, how is this going to also add up to our democracy and strengthen our constitution?
What I say is that I mean, when you look at the elections, the 2024 elections, it tells you that Ghanaians have come of age, right? Ghanaians have matured so much that whatever you tell them, they will hold you to account. They will hold you to account. We've done that with the MPP, and they will do that with the NDC. So the NDC, now new government, yet to be sworn in on the 7th, have promised Ghanaians a lot of things. And Ghanaians will be looking forward to see if those things become a reality. And if it doesn't become a reality, the same way they voted against the NPP, same way they'll do to them comes into game. So I think that the politicians are now waking up to the fact that they cannot just tell us anything and get away with it, but whatever they tell us, we hold them to account. And I'm looking forward to that in this parliament.
Well, Ledampa, we'll come back to you the more to speak with you on issues about this parliament and also how we're moving into the next government, transitioning into that. We're grateful for your time.
I'm so grateful, as always. It's always a joy to be on ABC.
Thank you, Lawyer Dankwa. Lawyer Yao Dankwa is a constitutional lawyer, and he was helping us in this conversation about the rejection of some results by some MPs who say that they won't be seeking redress. And he says that it is necessary that they do seek redress. They should go to court about it. But halting the transitional process is not constitutional, so they would not be able to halt it. So for the MPs who are calling that the transition process be halted till their matters have been addressed, they cannot have that done. But he also applauds the EC for conducting a peaceful election and applauds the nation that the 2024 elections have been peaceful so far. But at the end of it all, MPs who are aggrieved should proceed to court, and then their issues will be looked at. Yesterday, the two presidents, the outgoing president and the incoming president, met to begin the transition process. Let's take a look at what happened, what transpired. We'll be back with more conversations.
An effective democratic state which respects the will of the people, which respects human rights and the rule of law, and where we are all secure in our daily lives. We've spoken a little bit about the issues that have occurred, the seeming lawlessness that has taken place over the thing, and I express my happiness at his intervention yesterday in speaking to the country about what was going on, and the reinforcing of the authority of the state to make sure that these matters are dealt with. So this is the reason why he's here, and I thought we should give you a brief outcome of the visit. It has been a very warm and constructive feeling. The President and I have known each other for nearly 20 years. We met in Parliament in 1997 and have remained good friends ever since. So that...
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. President. As I said when I spoke after the declaration of results, I mentioned that His Excellency the President had given me a call to congratulate me, and so I had the opportunity to thank him this morning for being that gracious to give me that call. We had a very cordial meeting. At the time he called, he suggested 11 a.m. this morning to have the preliminary meeting towards setting up the transitional team, and that meeting has just ended. Was very cordial, and I think we were very happy to be together. Mr. President has given me a brief on the security situation, both internal and external, and also a short brief on issues to do with the economy. Of course, the transitional teams will drill down further into these matters, but I am happy at the assurance he's giving us that we're going to work together in the interest of Ghana to ensure a seamless transition. And I believe that even after that transition, it will be necessary for us to continue to keep a channel of communication so that Ghana's democratic credentials are consolidated, and we all work together in the national interest. And so I want to thank him for his time, and to assure him that on our side we are very happy to work together and we'll look forward to the successful work of the Joint Transitional Team. I thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. There will be
at the Jubilee House, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo invited and met the President-elect John Dramani Mahama to commence the transition process. Later in the evening, the transition team was launched. And let's have some conversation with Dr. Richard Fiadomo. He is a local governance expert. Hello, Doc. Good morning. Thank you for your time. Hello, Dr. Fiadomo.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning and good morning to all the church listeners.
We've started okay, thank you, sir. We've started a transition process so that one government can hand over to the next government. And all of these, do you envisage that we'll have a seamless process?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that this is the fifth time that this process is being undergone, and I honestly do not think that there will be any issues. It's going to be very smooth and seamless. I think that the transition process is just for the government to hand over. It is not a probing process for you to not go into figures to see how much has been spent here, how much has been spent there. The government is supposed to hand over to the new incoming government. After the incoming government has taken over on the 7th of January, they can now decide to go into the books, and if they have any issues, they can call the former government appointees to come and answer. So the transition process is just a hand-over ceremony, and nothing is supposed to be questioned. Okay. Of course, the NDC team has raised an issue as to some last-minute payments that are being made and last-minute recruitments that are also being made. Yes, it is a concern, but it's not an issue that can stop the transition process. No.
Right. As a local governance expert, it means that you take very much interest in the local government of our nation. And although we don't hear much about local governments, because a lot of people don't participate in that, it has a very direct influence and effect on us as a people. How does local governance also find its place or expression in all of the transition happening at the moment?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think that when it comes to the local government, especially the MNDC, their positions are not coterminous with that of the president. So at the local government level, there's no transition going on. What it is that in 2009, when His Excellency John Atanos won the election, may so rest in perfect peace, he decided that he was going to keep the NPP appointees in place until he had appointed his own MNDC. He had issues with the party then. But when His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa won power in 2016 and took power in 2017, he decided to sack all the MNDC the next day after he was sworn in. So as we speak now, the MNDC, they are not supposed to be in transition or handing over to anybody. So it remains to be seen what the incoming president will do, whether he will go the Atanos way or he will go the Nana Addo way. I cannot speak for him on that one. It is purely his discretion. So when he comes, he decides whether he will let them stay or he will sack all of them. So as we speak, the local government, we are not into any transition. The transition is at the national level. Our fate will be decided by the incoming president after the 7th of January. So the assembly system is supposed to be in perpetuity. What is going on, everything is underway. It's unfortunate some, I would say, criminals and hoodlums have gone to attack some MNDCs as if they are supposed to sack from their office. It's very condemnable, and we don't want those practices to be continued. So they should allow the MNDCs to work. They should go to work until the new president decides their fate. So they are not going through any transition as we speak.
Some NPP members are calling on government or on the president to halt the transition process until all of the issues within their constituency elections are resolved. Is it possible, is it a possibility in our governance structure that the transition process will be halted because of constituency issues?
Now that's a joke of a century. And it is surprising that a member of parliament will speak that way. The transition process is a constitutional matter backed by an act of parliament. So how is it that because your constituency you are having issues with? In any case, if you look at the act, it gives the president-elect and indeed the president 48 hours after the election results have been declared. There must be a transition process to start with. So yesterday was the end of the 48 hours, and the president and indeed the transitional team, they met. So as for that call, it's unfortunate that coming from somebody who is a member of parliament who should know better, how on earth do you suggest that a transition process which is backed by an act of parliament? The president cannot decide to stop any transition process. He is enjoined by the law to put in place a transition process from his side, and then the incoming president will. And there is a criteria as to who should even be on that transitional team. So it's a joke of a century, and the president cannot comply with this kind of call. There are parliamentary issues must be solved at the parliamentary or the constituency level, and it will not affect the national transitional process we are going to. Come January 7, the Secretary General Mama will be sworn in irrespective of what anybody thinks or says.
Of the local governance lies with the president if they want to maintain them or let them go. What will it mean for local government if the president decides to maintain them as they are?
If the president decides to maintain, what the act is clear that when an MMDC is appointed and is confirmed by the assembly, he has 4 years. He can only be removed if the president of the day decides to remove him, or if he or she decides to resign, or if he or she is removed by the first majority in the assembly, and if unfortunately the MMDC dies. Those are only 4 ways MMDCs can be removed from office. So the president, the new president, will now decide whether he will allow them to finish their current term. And as I said, because it's not coterminous with the term of the president, it is not automatic that because Nana-Addo is leaving, all his MMDCs should leave. It is the ministers and other agencies that will leave with the president. But when it comes to the district assembly, their positions are not coterminous with that of the president. So the new president will decide. If the new president decides that they should stay, it will not be an issue. But the only problem is that the party people may not like it, just like they didn't like it when Atanos was there. And you know, Nana-Addo has proven over the period that he's a very vindictive president. So when he came, he didn't even give them a microsecond to remain at post. He asked that they should hand over to the coordinating director. So the assembly did not grind to a halt. So if John Dramani Mahama decides to sack them on a first day of office, the assembly should not grind to a halt because it did not when Nana-Addo Dankwa did similarly. So for that one, it is pure prerogative of the president, and that one, he will decide what he has to do. We can only advise. But if you ask my personal considered opinion, I think that he should exercise the discretion in such a manner that it will not affect the occasions of the assembly. The way Nana-Addo Dankwa went about it was not too good, but even that one, the assembly survived it.
Assemblies, what are some of the things that can make their work better as we are moving into a new government?
Yeah, thank you. I think for what they should appoint persons who know a thing or two about assembly business. This issue of because the party has won and I'm a constituency secretary, I'm a constituency chairman, organizer, I should be a chief executive. It's not good for, and I expect that going forward, especially John Dramani Mahama, in making the appointment, we can get a strict criteria so that it's not a political party patronage as usual. And that happens, it affects the party, the local government system. We also do not want to see unbridled interference when it comes to the work of the MMDC. We know that if you look at the way MMDC is appointed, it has to pass through the party system. So once you get there, the chairman of the constituency thinks that you pass through my hands or you pass through the hands of the executive for getting there. So unreasonable demands, and it doesn't allow the MMDC to. And that is why we recommend that going forward, now that the NDC has declared majority, we should amend Article 240 of the Constitution and get the citizens to vote for the MMDC so that it will cure this unbridled interference that comes from the political elite. And we also want to see a situation whereby the common fund will not be appropriated or misappropriated in such a way that the money do not go to the assembly and the common fund administrator put in his or her office and now be making centralized procurement on behalf of the assembly. We do not want to see any such thing happening during this because of that. It defeats decentralization. If we have to have one contractor working for all the 261 district assemblies, providing furniture, doing roofs, and all those kinds of things, it's a problem. So I think that going forward, we did not see some of these things when His Excellency John Dramani Mahama was in power. The NPP has come to bastardize our local governance system, and we are happy they are out of government, and we do not want to see even 10% of what they do, the NDC trying to repeat that everything. So I think there's a good future for the local governance system in the hands of John Dramani Mahama.
The local government system. What do you mean by so?
So because if you want to see then and now, we never had a situation whereby the common fund was tapped under John Dramani Mahama. We never had a situation whereby the common fund was engaged in centralized procurement under John Mahama. We never had a situation whereby money meant for the district assemblies was used by the government to go and buy iPad or laptop for secondary school children. We never had a situation whereby the common fund was appropriated to go and buy trade equipment and the monies were not sent to the assemblies. We never had a situation whereby property rates were taken from the assemblies and given to GRA under John Dramani Mahama. So the future looks good as far as local governance is concerned under John Mahama and the current incompetent Nana Dankwa Saouna State.
Happy that they are out. You said the NPP has bastardized the local government system and we are happy that they are out. When you say we, who are the we? Who do you speak for in the term of we?
I'm talking about the chamber for local government.
The chamber.
Because we have interest in what happens to the local government sector. And we have had to fight this government over the past 8 years and they will not listen. So clearly, that is why before the election we came out to support John Dramani Mahama because we believe that he has done something good in the past for the local government and we believe he will do something good. If it comes to therefore that he wants to do the same thing as Nana Dankwa has done, bastardize the local government system, and the chamber will come out to speak and will call on Daniel to vote against the NDC come the 2028 election. If you don't see any
Before we let you go, you said that you are looking forward to there being a strict criteria for appointing MMDCEs. What are some of the factors you would look for in that criteria?
Yeah, number one, there should be a basic qualification, at least a first degree, for you to become an MMDC. There should also be a situation whereby you have people who have had, if you want to appoint people to be chief executive of corporate organizations, you are looking for people who have had a certain experience in the corporate, ecosystem. But when it comes to the assembly, because I have been considered chairman, I've been considered secretary, I've been working for the party, I should become deputy chief executive. I do not think that is good for us. And so there should be people who have either worked in the assembly system or have been assembly members before, have been deciding members before, who know a thing or two about how the assembly system operates. Then these are the things we are looking for. So it is not a normal area whereby because you have a first degree in accounting or management that you can work in a bank and all these kind of things. When it comes, there should be some level of governance experience at the local level. Either you have been a unit committee member before, you've been an assembly member before, or a sitting assembly member, and all those kind of things. I'm not saying that should be the main criteria. The main criteria, at least, you must be a first degree holder because you are going to be producing documents and approving contracts. You should be able to read and understand the contract, of course, with legal advice and all those kind of things. So those are the things we want to see. And when it comes to appointments of government appointees to the assemblies, we should look for people who have a certain qualification or experience to come and complement what the elected assembly members do not have. So, for example, if we are coming to assembly, it's for development control. And then if you have someone who has a planning background and none of the assembly members has a planning background, you should go and look for someone who has a planning background, engineering background, to appoint them as government appointees so that we can come and complement the work of the elected assembly members. But if you want to every time business as usual and political patronage, then assembly should continue to go down. Our business operation permit property rate to be collected, and they will be blatantly misused, and you and I cannot have a say to ensure that we call assembly. So we need assembly to be socially accountable to the people, but we must get cracked or experienced people, knowledgeable people also at the assembly. Local government is a serious business, and we should not treat it as if it is just for political privilege.
Dr. Fiadomo, you mentioned that you do not want a government that uses common funds to fund DRIP projects or DRIP issues. Is there an issue with a DRIP project that is currently ongoing?
We have a big issue with it. You see, the common fund is meant for development projects at the assemblies. The assemblies have assembly members who are supposed to go and sit at the General Assembly and come out with policy and development needs of a particular assembly. So if you have a situation whereby assembly thinks that the road is a major challenge for them, give the money to the assembly. The assembly will decide that the road is a major challenge. They will go and get equipment to, as it were, fix those roads. In any case, it is not the duty of the Common Fund Administrator to engage in procurement. It's an outright illegality. The Common Fund Administrator, her job, his or her job is very simple. Come out with a formula as to how the district assembly's common fund is to be disbursed. Send that formula to Parliament. Parliament will approve or amend the formula, and then based on Parliament's approval, you distribute the monies to the assemblies based on the formula approved by Parliament. There is no way that Parliament approved for DRIP equipment to be bought, because Parliament knows, or Parliament ought to have known, that the district assembly administrator, common fund administrator, that does not engage in procurement. That's an illegality. So I honestly don't think Parliament will give that kind of approval. So that is centralized, and it is because of corruption. That is why the common fund administrator is engaged in that thing, because the contract that was given to AJ Plant Pool was not, number one, advertised. It was so. So none of us heard about it until the DRIP equipment came out. And if you want to do such a huge procurement, which is about $38 million, and it doesn't go through procurement, it didn't seek approval for the PPA to be able to do all that. It is all about corruption, but it is wrong. The procurement, the Common Fund Administrator or Secretariat is not a procurement entity. Their job is just to distribute funds to the assemblies. The assemblies reserve, they are the development authority. They decide what they should use their common fund for. It is not for the common fund administrator to sit in an office in Accra and decide that all the districts in Ghana need to do roads. That is very wrong. In any case, if you go to the metros, to Kumasi, Tema, and all those places, you will see that those graded and other things, many of their roads are more travel. If you go to the hinterlands and the rural areas, they have bad and more travel roads. They need those kinds of equipment, because the DRIP equipment are not to be constructing roads. Because if you want to construct roads, then you will need to attach money for them to buy equipment and all those kinds of things. But that is not what I will give it. It is just for road shaping and road maintenance. So why do you sit down and decide for an assembly? And in any case, the four centralized procurement can be done for and on behalf of district assemblies. All the district assemblies must pass a resolution authorizing central government to make that procurement for on their behalf. As we speak with you, there was no resolution passed by a single assembly. So this whole drift, the concept is not bad, but how it was implemented is an outright illegality, and we do not think that going forward, whoever John Dramani Mahama appoints as a common fund administrator should come and repeat this illegal activity or attitude. It will not be tolerated.
Since you said it is a good policy, it is the way that it was looked at or it was executed that had issues. As an expert in this local governance sector, how would you have executed it differently?
That's why I've said that the assembly should have been written to pass a resolution that they want the government to procure on behalf of the assembly drift equipment. Then the assembly will pass a resolution to that effect, giving the government authorization to do that. You see, the assemblies are authorities on their own. That is why when the assemblies collect money from you, business operating permit, property rate, and all these things, the assembly does not give those money to the central government. The central government just comes in to regulate or give them guidelines as to how those money should be spent. For example, government will say maybe 30% of your IGF should be spent on capital projects. Then the assemblies will comply. But government does not appropriate funds at the district assembly. And that is why the constitution is clear that the central government at the end of each financial year, they should pay 5% of the total revenue of the country into the district assembly's common fund. The constitution goes ahead to say that when the money hits the district assembly's common fund, the common fund administrator should come out with a formula for that money to be shared to the assembly for parliament to approve. It goes to parliament approves, and now the common fund administrator can now disperse the money to the assemblies. The common fund does not make procurement for and on behalf of assembly. So the best thing should have been done under this circumstance should have been that the assembly should have been called upon to pass a resolution authorizing the common fund administrator or central government for that matter to go ahead with the drip procurement. All these things were not done. And that is why we are saying that it was wrong. The principle to have the drip equipment is not wrong, but how they went about it is what we are calling an illegality, and that is what it is.
In a few days, we've also gotten news that some drip equipment were allegedly have been stolen by some foreign nationals. You believe that if the district assembly were handling this themselves, we would not see some of these thefts?
Of course, this is what you will see and many more. Because you see, this whole drip equipment, I think that the new government should go into it. How do you purchase equipment for the assembly? Yet when the equipment are down, assembly cannot repair it. They have to, now they're going to set up a secretariat somewhere around East Legon, where they will now maintain the equipment, and the assemblies will not pay for the equipment. They will send their bill to common fund, and common fund will deduct the money from stock and pay to them. How would the assembly be able to know how much was spent in maintaining the equipment? So this whole drip issue is an avenue for corruption, and we will call on John Dramani Mahama to look into it and make sure that this thing that the equipment, the monies used to buy the equipment are for the assembly. So fine, if you buy the equipment for the assembly, how is it that assemblies cannot maintain their own equipment? And there has to be a centralized location. So if there is something good catalyst and your equipment is down, you have to inform Accra. So Accra to come and respond to your needs. And when it is done, then Accra will now send a bill for that good catalyst to the common fund administrator to be deducted as source. That is unacceptable, and we cannot allow the constitution to be breached or flouted in this manner. The fund is not the assembly for development, not meant for procurement to be done for and on behalf of the district assembly.
I'll ask a last question before you go, but we have the video of the alleged drip equipment that were stolen. We want our viewers to take a watch, and then I'll come back to you, Dr. Fiadomo.
All right.
Constituency. Ọba bẹ fọ machines ni bi kọ eti akyerẹ ọmọ machines ni nie ebi before ọba bẹ ta machine ẹ kọ eti machines ni ya machine no na no ya return no back to assemble when the man for take you over no when the man for take you over no they say machines government there after the moment before machines this somebody call what do you mean why you sending the machine for is machine for you is machine for you is machine for you is a machine for you is machine for government why taking it. Why are you taking it? Why are you taking it? Who asked you to come and take our permission? Who asked you to take it? Breaking news. Enkwanta South constituency. Omo be for machines ni bi ko. Eti a kire omo. Machines ni ni. Every before omo be time machine eko. Eti machines ni ni ya kire machine no. Na no ya return no back to assemble. When the man for take you over, no. When the man for take you over, no. They say machines government there. After the moment before machines, this somebody call. What do you mean? Why are you sending the machine for? Is machine for you? Is machine for you?
Well, this is the video that surfaced from Enkwanta South. We do not in any way condone any form of violence on anybody. Let me come back to you, Dr. Fiadamo. Hello, sir.
Yeah, my sister, have you seen what we are talking about?
Yes.
You think that if it was Enkwanta, it is South or North Assembly that passed a resolution and asked the Assembly to procure those equipment will not be sitting at the Assembly. The another area of corruption for this whole great thing is that those who are manning the equipment at the Assembly, they are not staff of the Assembly. They are paid by the Drink Secretariat. So I will not be surprised that they asked to go for their machines because there's a change of government. So the equipment have been procured in the name of the assemblies, but the assemblies do not have control. And that's what we are talking about. And I can assure you, immediately John Dramani Mahama takes over, we will get the government to go into this grave matter and make sure that nobody will be able to take any equipment anywhere. How do you procure something for me? You say it is for me, yet I don't have control over the person who even operates the equipment. I don't pay that person. The person comes from where he or she has to come from, comes to pick the machine and go. How do you expect the driver or the operators of the machine to take instructions from the district chief executive? My sister, this whole thing, the drip equipment is very fraudulent, and at the appropriate time, I believe the new government will go into it.
In the video, the gentleman who was running the commentary said that this is why we take over. Following the election, just a few days after the elections, we've seen some people storm premises of government institutions to take over the places, which is obviously not the right thing to do. How can we strengthen our institutions to resolve or to prevent these things from happening? Various institutions, from the highest of from the biggest of institutions to the smallest of some of them, to the point where even public toilet facilities, people throng there and say that our government is now in power, we are taking over the place. What is that chasm that is creating all of these?
Yeah, thank you very much. As for those actions, we condemn it in a certain terms. And we want to remind everybody that John Dramani Mahama is president-elect. He is not the president of Ghana. The president of Ghana is Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Ghanaians gave him 4 years, and his term of office will end midnight 6th January 2025. So as we speak, the person who has authority, executive authority in this country is Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and everybody he has appointed has that authority until midnight January 6th. So we condemn it in no uncertain terms for anybody who wants to take over. John Mahama is not the president of Ghana as we speak today. But what is an issue is that I believe that sometimes those who are doing that feel that something is going wrong. How do you suspect that something is going wrong? You have to go and inform the police or report the matter to the police. If these drip equipment are even being stolen, yes, citizens can also make arrests, and that intervention is also acceptable. But largely, it should be reported to the police. So if John Mahama has not taken over and you want to take over ahead of time, it's a criminal, and we expect the IGP and the police to arrest people who are misbehaving. As for that thing, we should not condone it. Whether we like it or not, January 7 will surely come, and John Mahama will take over as president. Leave John Dramani Mahama to make his appointment, and let his appointees now begin to take the actions, and not because you are a member or a sympathizer of the NDC, or you voted for the NDC and the NDC has won. So you want to start work ahead of even the person we all voted for. No. Nobody can be more Catholic than the Pope. Let John Dramani Mahama take over the reins of governor on the 7th of January and let him dictate the pace as to how. If it comes out that government officials have stolen the state assets or have stolen money, the laws are there to deal with them. So we don't condone by any microsecond what people are doing in the so-called takeover. That is not your responsibility. And if you suspect some crime being committed, please report the matter to the police. They are close with the necessary power to deal with matters such as that.
In the parliamentary elections, some of the constituencies have come under contention. Some MPs believe they should have been the rightful winners of the seat, so are looking at seeking redress at the court. How does this also influence? How does it influence our local governance? We have. How does it influence our local governance? Yes.
Yeah, you see, the laws are clear. PI 127, that governs election, is clear. When elections take place at the polling station, by 5 o'clock, sorting and counting is done, and the results are declared at the polling station. When the results are declared, all the political party agents are given a duplicate copy of the sheet, so you know what your candidate got. The second process, because the election did not happen in one particular area, it happened in several areas. So all of us will have to go and contribute at a point which the Electoral Commission has designated a collation center. So at that place, we are not counting election ballot papers. That's why the law requires that you can request for 2 recounts to be done at the police station. The first one is automatic. The second one is at the discretion of the presiding officer at the station. So when we get to the collation center, it is just a matter of the figures and the words written on the pink sheet, then we'll now add it to the polling station and get an aggregate figure, and the Electoral Commission will be able to say that Party A or Party B won the elections, and then it is declared. But what we have seen in this particular election, because some parliamentary candidates or MPs, as you say, knew very well they were not going to win, and they brought in a rigging machinery, whereby people wanted to swap ballot boxes. People are now doctrine how on earth a parliamentary or an MP say that if he doesn't have the hard copies, he only has soft copies. How did you generate the soft copies? Less than 24 hours, your hard copy is missing. We all know in the era of AI, soft copies, figures can be changed. And that is what is creating the confusion. How is it that the other party has the hard copy, but you don't have the hard copy, and you want to use a soft copy to do collation? Let's be serious in this country. So that is where the confusion something is coming from. But it is coming from people who obviously have lost elections and they want to get. Fine. If the election is declared, this morning I have heard the Electoral Commission engage in another illegality by ordering that there should be a rerun of the Ablekumanov election. It doesn't lie in the mouth of the Electoral Commission to make that decision. That is the pronouncement that must come from a court. So if the election is declared and you have an issue, you have the right to go to court, and then the court to go into the matter. We have been in this country where people have won elections, the Electoral Commission has declared them, and then the court has said, no, you didn't win, it was this person who won. And the court can even say, fine, we should go for a rerun, and that will be done. So we should allow the laws and the processes to work. This unnecessary taggery on some parliamentary candidates who obviously have lost elections will not help anybody. We need peace in this country so that the incoming president can be able to govern so that Ghana can develop. What we want is development. not anybody's personal or selfish interest or selfish development. That's not why Ghanaians are voting. We vote for general development so that you and I can have life easy for us in this country, so that the country can also move forward.
We're grateful for your time this morning.
The pleasure is mine.
Dr. Richard Fiadomo is a local governance expert. We've had conversations about local government and also about the elections that have happened. But he says that the government must reduce unbridled interference in the appointment of MMDCEs and should amend Article 242 for citizens to vote for MMDCEs. We'll look at these conversations the more as we go on. But that's all for the main discussion this morning on ABC in the Morning. We'll take a quick break. When we are back, politics today with Samuel Nimadwo. You don't want to miss it at all.
This is where the headlines are probed. Policies scrutinized through an objective lens with an unbiased approach to every discussion. Key in to a series of pulsating conversations with the hard questions.
Why do you still want to run when you have failed?
I haven't. What do you mean by failed?
In-depth analysis of policy proposals.
If it's a temporary program, why do we want to still create another gold reserve exchange program also to address a temporary issue?
If you introduce a temporary measure and you realize that the temporary measure works and is sustainable, you have to rethink whether or not it should just be temporary.
And every agenda and positions intellectually debated to set the record straight.
Look, you still don't answer the question now.
Good.
Question is, if Article 78(1) is anything to go by, your ministers of state largely are supposed to come from the parliament.
Yes.
The law says that not less than 10 and not more than 19. So these are your cabinet, your ministers of state you're going to get. How do you intend to? Have you thought about managing that hurdle?
Absolutely. If I hadn't, I probably would not get on the parade to do this.
On Focus on ABC, we focus on the matter, the personality, and the answer beyond the rhetoric. Focus on ABC shows every Thursday at 7 p.m. only on ABC News Ghana television.
Hello, good morning. You are welcome to Politics Today with me, Samuel Nyemabo. Today, we are doing a postmortem of the 2024 elections. You would remember that before the elections, we did constituency in focus, where we went around the country to look at what we could expect across various regions, various constituencies that we had our eyes on. And the results are in. We all know what the 2024 elections have looked like. The results have shown emphatic victory for the National Democratic Congress. They have choked some very emphatic wins across the country. It has been an unprecedented victory for the NDC since the 1992 elections. No government has had this kind of majority in parliament. They are having, by the end of coalition for all the 276 constituencies, you would see that the National Democratic Congress would have at least 2/3 of the seats in parliament. And today we want to look at the Upper West region. Now it was one of the regions that we kept our eyes on to look at what could happen in terms of the parliamentary elections, because we picked up intel, we picked up information that the parliamentary elections in the Upper West region was going to be very fiercely contested across some constituencies. You look at constituencies like the Nandom constituency, where the former Interior Minister Ambrose Derry, who served as Interior Minister from 2017 to just a year ago, it was contesting in that constituency as incumbent MP. We gave you information that his seat was under threat. True to our predictions, the MP lost the seat. You look at other constituencies in the region, the Sisala East constituency, for example, where the Deputy Sanitation Minister, Honorable Chinyere, was contesting in the constituency. We brought you information that his seat was also under threat. He went ahead after the elections. He's lost the seat. As it stands now, the National Democratic Congress has won all 11 seats in the Upper West region. So let's give you a breakdown of the results across the 11 constituencies in the Upper West region. Now, let's start with the Jirapa constituency. In Jirapa, we had Salifu Aisha of the NPP contesting Cletus Seidu Dapila of the NDC. At the end of the elections, Salifu lost when he secured only 6,665 votes to Cletus Seidu Dapila of the NDC, winning with some 23,563 votes. Very emphatic win. And Jirapa has been a stronghold of the National Democratic Congress, so it was not even a contest in the first place. Then you look at the Wa Central constituency, for example, Dr. Rashid Pelpo in there, winning with some 38,579 votes, as against Hajia Humu Audu, who had 30,724. Now we looked at we looked at that constituency in our previous discussion, and where we said that it was going to be a good contest. I mean, the Hajia of the NPP was going to give Rashid Pelpo a contest, and she actually did. Just that Rashid still maintained his dominance in the constituency, winning with over 8,000 votes in the constituency. If you look at another constituency in the Upper West region, the Nadoli Kalio constituency, NPP Kambutu Javier lost the elections to Anthony Suma of the NDC, where Anthony had 24,478 as against Kambutu Javier, who had 5,834. Very emphatic win for the NDC in the Nadoli Kalio constituency. Nandom, where our main focus was on, we had Ambrose Derry of the NPP as against Richard Kwe of the NDC. Now Ambrose lost the seat as incumbent MP. He lost the seat where he had 10,706 votes as against Richard, who had 13,743 votes. So it was some 3,000 plus difference between the two candidates, where the incumbent MP lost. At the end of the day, there was some vote cast, total vote cast was around 24,905 in the Nandom constituency, and Ambrose Derry lost the elections as we predicted that his seat was under threat. He went ahead to lose it. Now, in another constituency we brought to your attention was that the Lambusi constituency. NPP was holding that constituency. Lambusi, Dr. Bright Yevio Don lost the elections, where he had only 6,079 votes to Prof. Titus Bayu of the NDC. Titus Bayu coming in strongly to win the seat for the National Democratic Congress, making it the second seat the NDC had recruited from the NPP in the Upper West region. Then we had the Wa East constituency, one that was already held by the NDC. They went ahead to win again. Godfred Seidu Jassau won the incumbent NP, winning 20,402 votes as against NPP. Dr. Irakadia Suleiman, who had only 11,816 votes. Then we went to the Laura constituency, the constituency where the NPP won in 2016, however lost it in 2020 and 2024. They couldn't do a comeback because the NDC, Bede Anwata Zumu, won the elections. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing the name well, but the NDC candidate won in that election in the Laura constituency by 12,830 votes as against NPP Jacob Derry, who won with 7,347 votes in the Laura constituency. So NPP was unable to secure a victory in the constituency to do a comeback. Now, we also brought you that contest in the Dafia Mabusi Isa constituency. Dr. Sandari of the NDC as against Nadi Sanda Imoro of the NPP. It was a close call, close contest. However, Dr. Sandari of the NDC emerged victorious, winning with 10,448 votes as against NPP Dr. Nadi Sanda Imoro, who had only 7,392 votes. So you realize that it was a difference of some 3,000 plus votes in the Dafia Mabusi Isa constituency. NPP losing that one again. Wa West, we saw the NDC maintain their seat in the Wa West. Peter Lenchin Tobu is a popular figure in the Wa West constituency, and for the people of Wa West. Now Peter won the elections with 25,498 votes as against the NPP candidate, who had 10,162. Santari James had only 10,162 votes. You realize that Peter won with over 15,000 votes in that elections. And then you come to the Sisala West. Sisala West NDC maintaining their dominance again, winning in the Sisala West. There was when the election started, when votes started coming in, there was some information flying that NPP had won the Sisala West seat. It came out to be untrue because NDC's Mohammed Suparu won in that election 17,436 votes as against Naliwi Balui of the NPP, who had 12,937 votes. So the NPP lost again. Where the last constituency in the Upper West region was another constituency the NPP held in the 2020 elections. They had three. The last one was the Sisala East constituency. Amidu Chinia Isahaku, NPP candidate, incumbent MP for the area, deputy sanitation minister. However, he lost the seat, only getting 10,789 votes as against the NDC's Mohammed Batagli, who had 21,621 votes. You realize that it is a difference of about 10,000 votes in there. So Chinia, incumbent NP, lost with some 10,000 votes in the Sisala East constituency. So all the seats, 11 seats, have been taken back by the NDCs. It was a clean soup for it was a clean sweep for the National Democratic Congress in the region, and we're going to understand what really accounted for this. We predicted it. We predicted that the NPP 3 seats that they were holding in the constituency were under threat, and we actually also said that they had a chance of winning that Dafiama Busi Isa constituency. However, it didn't succeed, so they now hold no seat in the region, in the Upper West region. Let's get to understand what really played out for the NDC in the region, helping them to cement and win all the seats, and what really also didn't help the NPP, such that they couldn't even get one seat in the Upper West region. And we are joined by our Upper West regional correspondent, Robert Dingbe, joining us from the Upper West region. Robert, good morning. You are welcome to the show. Hello, Robert. Hello, Robert.
Yes, good morning from the Upper West region.
Yes, Robert, it's been we are about 3-4 days after the elections. NPP losing the 3 seats they were holding in the constituency. Before we get to analyze what happened and what didn't happen for each party, let me just ask, what is the mood like in the Upper West region? Who are jubilating? Obviously, the NDC will be jubilating, but what is the mood?
Well, it's been relatively calm at the moment. The initial stage where the results have started tripping in, and the coalitions from the various political parties gave a strong signal to the NDC, and they started to jubilate. But after the information came that they should keep calm and keep being vigilant till the end, it actually quelled them back. And as I speak to you at this very moment, I haven't seen any form of celebrations like we have seen in the past, where the NDC will win and there is so much fanfare around. That has not really happened. Even on the Sunday where I took a stroll around town, it just looked very normal. And the day the EC chair declared the results in favor of John Dramani Mahama, that evening I took a cursory look around, and most of the NDC spots where maybe there are youth offers, those kind of places. In fact, I didn't even see stereo sound playing there, which is very usual, except at the constituency office where they had their van that they used for the campaigns was there playing loud sound, but the numbers there were just the young people around, and I wasn't seeing them having that kind of euphoria that usually comes with victory of this magnitude. I don't know whether perhaps they just felt it was a normal thing that they expected, or they just were not in the mood to jubilate yet. And since then till now, it's been relatively calm. In fact, I am no longer even seeing that kind of party euphoria thing where you see people grouped in at camps and all that, discussing the elections and stuff like that. It's just like it's become normal. Things have gone back to normalcy over here, especially in the WA central constituency.
So you would say that is because perhaps the NDC sees this to just be a normal victory coming into this election, or maybe perhaps they were actually expecting this victory, so it didn't take them by surprise.
Not at all.
Right. Now let's get to okay, before we move that, how are the NPP reacting to the whole situation? Now they don't have a single seat.
It's rather interesting here in the region. They are the same people. When you go to social media, you take a casual look, they're teasing themselves and making fun out of it. And I'm not even seeing the NDC trolling them like I probably anticipated perhaps I would have seen happening. It's just almost like nothing serious happened around, and I don't know what could have resulted in this scene. And in fact, it's even the MPP that is, aside the trolling themselves, they also have issues on social media, and that has gone into mainstream, that they're talking at each other, pointing, accusing fingers and all that, and that has just been the situation, though it's not seeming to be getting out of hand. But I'm sure if they don't manage it well, it's likely to go out of hand. And as they keep blaming some people for their defeat and all that, I think the MPP in the region, they have received it like that. The shock is there, but I'm not seeing what I thought I would have seen. Perhaps maybe people quail back, take back, but they're rather accusing each other all over the place.
Maybe perhaps the message from their flag bearer who lost the elections would be one that they'll find expression in. He's been speaking and saying that they should stop accusing each other and move forward. But let's get to really understand the result. Now, for a constituency like this NPP held 3 constituencies ahead of this election. For a constituency like Nandom, where they had a former interior minister, losing the elections. For another constituency like Sisala East, they have a still current deputy minister of sanitation losing the seat. What really played to these two very huge defeat for the NPP in the 2 respective constituencies?
Yes, in the Sisala East constituency, I'll start with there because it became very obvious that Honorable Chinyere was going to lose the seat just shortly after his issues on TV, where it was revealed that he bought some state lands whilst he was accusing John Dramani Mahama of grabbing state properties and all that, but it turned out to be that he rather was deep neck into such corrupt activities, and which he couldn't deny or confirm or otherwise, and that was where the trouble really got worse for him. And the NDC in the constituency, they really had that kind of a tie in the 2020 elections, and there was the PNC candidate, Honorable Kantong, who also later joined the NDC. In fact, he became a member of the NDC. They accepted him and even held a brief ceremony and welcomed him into the party. And since then, he has told the PNC in the constituency that he is now NDC, and anybody that voted for him should give their vote to that of the NDC, Honorable Battaglia. And since then, it's not been the same. That was why initially, before the elections, I ruled that in the Upper West region, the only safest seat that the MPP could count on was the Nandom constituency seat, because the Sisala East seat had just slipped out of the MPP just due to what played out around the member of parliament, Honorable Chinyere. So it didn't come surprising to anybody that would have understood the grounds there in the Sisala East constituency that in the 2020 elections, for instance, Honorable Kingsley pulled over 9,000 votes. The NDC candidate at that time, Honorable Battaglia, who is now the elect, also pulled over 10,000 votes, and Chinyere won with a very slim margin. So it wasn't surprising when the
two joined their hands together.
Yes. So it looked very easy. Though during his campaign launch, we saw the PNC declare their support for the member of parliament, Honorable Chinyere. But the PNC National also directed that all their supporters should give their mandate to that of the NDC. So you could just see that from that perspective, if the constituency executives of the PNC were not so active. In fact, as a matter of fact, they are not. Because I have been to that constituency earlier this year, around February thereabout. I was in the constituency to do some work findings there, and I realized the PNC was not organized at all in that constituency. They had to take Honorable Bernard Mona, who went there to put things in place quickly before their primaries and their presidential primary. You could see that from that perspective, then the executives that had come out to declare their support for Chinyere, it was just that kind of endorsement that fine, it's a political party that
it didn't hold much weight.
Not at all. They didn't have followers. In fact, Honorable Kingsley Kantong, the PNC candidate who later joined the NDC, you could see that he got most of the votes not because of PNC, but his persona. Yes, his persona gave him those votes. As we speak today, it has played out clearly. So if we go to the Nandong constituency, Ambrose still held the fort. Just about 2 weeks to the election, that is where the drama started, and everything changed for Ambrose for bad. It wasn't for good at all, because he probably took things for granted and things slipped out of his hands, because his own inner core members who had fallen out of with him later formed an alliance, a very strong one as that, and they were just low-key until just 2 weeks to elections. Then they came out clear to oppose him, to do things that were not in the interest of giving him the mandate. And I'm sure perhaps he couldn't gather courage to make those amends. If you see the vote difference, is just a slim margin as compared to the vote.
If you look at the vote difference, you are looking at about some 3,000 and 3,043 votes.
Yes. And that is something that Ambrose mostly won when it comes to elections in the Nandong constituency. No matter what he wins, if the margin is not big, but he always have a good number of votes to sail through. But this time around, I'm sure, due to the primaries, the MPP primaries, there was a gentleman who wanted to contest him, and he saw to the disqualification of this gentleman, and also that is what the gentleman is made known publicly. And also, he was a CEO of a state agency, and he was kicked out. And it was purported to be Ambrose Derry that influenced that. He was kicked out of the position. So all this became issues that he wasn't able to resolve, out the fire, because it really became an issue. But at a point, the issue seemed to have faded away. It seemed they had made amends or something. Though you could see that they were not together. Ambrose still came, did his solo moves. He wasn't in those guys that were always with him doing his bidding. Actually, he wasn't having them around him. But they didn't seem to be opposing him until these few weeks to the elections that they came out all out. And I thought it was just a killer strategy, and I'm sure he wasn't able to face them. He wasn't able to diffuse their messages as well. So it played into the elections. And one other thing that I think personally could have also influenced, because when election comes, Ambrose is able to organize buses to carry people from Wa Central, because there are a lot of constituents in the Wa Central constituency who goes there to vote. People come from other places. But information, very reliable information I got was that in the bus, they were giving monies and threatened. If you take this and you go and don't vote for Ambrose, then they place a curse. And that infuriated people. They didn't hide it. They said it openly. In fact, even in the bars, even in the bars, they said it openly. They were so angry that because you have come to carry me home to go and vote, you are now threatening me after giving me a token, let me say TNT or how they term it, and say if I don't vote for Honorable Ambrose, then you place a curse. So that really infuriated people in the bus, and I'm sure it sent a very wrong signal. And this was a place where I know about buses lined up, over 7 buses, Metro Mass buses, took off, and that happened within. And I'm sure perhaps information would have come through, and that same
also affected him.
Definitely. So when you look at all angles, you see that Charlie, his guys perhaps also who were transporting the people didn't help him at all. That much. But when you look at the Upper West region, for Lambuse, it became very obvious that Honorable Bright Bali was going to lose the election, because even in government, he was considered more like an opposition MP in the government, because he belonged to the Chiramantin camp. But after Chiramantin broke away, he denounced Chiramantin and said he was not going anywhere. He belonged to the MPP. But I'm sure that could have also affected him so much, because look at the gap between Honorable Bright Baligi and that of Titus Bayo is just something
it's
else.
A huge gap.
So, yeah, you see that it all played out that way. And Wa Central, one of the constituencies that I thought it would have been a close tie, but Honorable Rashid Pelpo also gave a gap over 7,000 difference. For DBI, the gap has not always been very large. So this time around, I'm sure Honorable Dr. Sebastian Sandari maintained a comfortable lead. Let me put it that way.
One would have expected that if the NPP was losing all the 3 seats that we mentioned before the elections, the only one that we said if Ambrose Dare played his card well, he could have maintained the seat. You look at Sisala East and then you look at the Lambusi seat. The only one that we said that if Ambrose Dare played his cards well, he could have maintained the seat was that Nandongwa. But if you look, one would have expected that whilst they were threatening, or those seats they had were under threat, they should have been making gains in other constituencies to also win some seats, especially that DBI seat. It was a seat that if they placed their all in, maybe they could have snatched it.
Well, for the DBI seat, the difference, like I said before the elections, was that they had made amends. And the former Deputy Apostolic Regional Minister, Honorable Abukeke, who at a point after the primaries, they were beginning to have issues. His camp, his supporters were raising some concerns and issues that were making things going to look difficult for Honorable Dr. Sebastian Sandari. But the party whipped them in line and everything seemed to be okay. And in fact, Honorable Abukeke championed a campaign trail in the constituency. So with that, it became very obvious that the NPP will have a lot of work to do in order to penetrate. And also with the issue of the registration, the NDC this time around, they stood their grounds. They didn't allow people that didn't come from the constituency to come and register there. And I think that is one thing that would have helped them, unlike in 2020, where it became obvious that people from other constituencies had their votes here. But later on, they were in that constituency, later on, they were able to make amends and probably vote those people into their fray. And I think that for the DBI seats, especially about 2 months to the election, it became very clear Honorable Dr. Sebastian Sandari was going to win that seat, no matter what the NPP would have done in the constituency.
Now, let's look at the general outlook for the New Patriotic Party in the region. Would you say that the regional executives didn't help the party in the region, that after holding 3 seats coming into the elections, they've lost all and haven't been able to even win one?
Yes, they really have caused the party, and they weren't listening. They didn't have listening tendencies as far as they were in government. They thought it was all about them and the cries of the people, and more especially the appointees. They probably made the thing worse for the party here in the region. Their utterances, they didn't speak as if the new power was transient. They could just say anything on radio to the extent a DC or MC can go on radio and tell the constituents that if they think they don't have development and they take him to the radio, that is not what is going to bring them development. And in fact, those that are taking him to radio, they shouldn't expect anything. You can see utterances like this. It definitely will anger people.
Yeah.
And I think that the executives couldn't whip such appointees in line. In fact, some of the appointees felt they were bigger than the executives.
That's where it comes in.
They have been there for over 7 years and 7 and still counting. And they knew very well that when the party wins again, they probably will be retained as MFDCs or perhaps also elevated. So it became that kind of thing that they were above the executives. So whatever the executives needed to do, it was the regional chairman, the late regional chairman, who could tell truth to them. Because I remember at one such congress, he accused the MMDCs of doing very little to support the party in the region. He said they weren't doing things that would make people want to gel with the party. But he died a few months to the election. So some of these things, and the regional chairman, the first deputy chairman, vice chairman took over the reign, and I'm not sure he could stand the test of the MMDCs in particular.
Right.
And they were really the focus. And they are the ones that, in fact, and other appointees really made things difficult for the party here.
All right.
Especially just their utterances.
Right. Robert, thank you very much for your time today on ABC in the morning with me, Samuel Nyimabo. Because of time, Robert would have loved to continue to dissect the issues in the Upper West region, but we have to drop it here because of time.
You're most welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So that is our Upper West regional correspondent, Robert Dingme, giving us the report as to what happened in the Upper West region. You realize that the NPP would have a lot more to do come 2028 because as it stands now, they hold no seat in the Upper West region. We end politics today here. Abramante comes to continue with you.